welcome to Happy Hour with Ruth.
And Roxy. It's lovely to see you.
It is, and we're actually taping on a Monday because I had a little meltdown on Friday and we couldn't tape, and we'll talk about that later. First, let's get into what we're drinking, Rox, because Roxanne made us a specialty drink today.
Kind of. I did because it's spring.
It's spring.
In springtime, I have rhubarb that is just glorious. Well, one of them. I have two plants. They're both the same kind, and they both just grow like crazy where I've got them. One's growing better than the other one right now, but I made a rhubarb simple syrup, and so we're having rhubarb gin and tonics.
It's rhubarb and ginger gin.
Rhubarb-Ginger Gin
comes from a local place just out here that's called, oh my gosh,
it's
Roxanne,
called
what's it called?
Lake Bottom. The distillery part of it is called New Wave Distilling.
Yeah.
This is it's not the rhubarb ginger one, but I want you to take a look at the label here. The label is really plain. It's also crooked. And do you want to tell them the story?
Yes. So in
21. I think it was 21.
Yeah. So we had a flood.
Know this.
We should know this. We had a huge atmospheric
flood.
river out here. I think we actually had 2 in a row, and it was a huge flood. And so at the distillery, that's also a really great little restaurant. They make really nice cocktails, like really sort of craftsperson cocktails. They were so flooded that where you typically would go to pay for your alcohol that you're buying to take home, it was flooded right up to where the cash register was, right? Like it was flooded out.
They were underwater.
Oh God, yeah. And this is a lovely family, and
it's a tiny little farm.
Oh, it is a little, like, and they're lovely humans, and they're doing their best to make this great craft alcohol stuff, and so then they had, because they could save lots of it, but the labels came off of it, some of it. They knew what some of it was. There were some random ones where it's like, have no idea, you're taking your chances, labels like that. But everybody went to support them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think they lowered the price that much because we all just wanted to support them.
Oh, exactly. And their products are so good.
Yeah,
and
they're good.
And I mean, you can see everything, you can taste everything. Their tasting room is just really fun.
And you can get like little tasting, like you get the beer, the flights, yes.
Yeah.
And you can do all of that. Plus, they do really, really cool fancy cocktails, with steam coming out of them and all the things, right? And the food is good. It's like charcuterie boards and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
And they're open they do wedding receptions.
They do, and it's beautiful.
It's lovely. It's a really, really pretty little place. It's right on, what's the road that it's on?
Oh, yeah, she's asking
Oh, dear.
me. Oh, my God. I hardly know where I
live.
live. We will put it in the link.
I'll put that in there.
But
it's beautiful. I think the address is probably Yarrow.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yeah, New Wave Distillery is their distillery part, and then Lake Bottom, I think, is what they actually do is fruit wine.
Right.
Fruit wine is their main thing. I'm not a huge fruit wine fan.
Yeah.
But
the other stuff.
But it's good. They have quite a following, and it's a lovely local business, and I love to support those. So
absolutely.
So that's what we're having today. We're having rhubarb-ginger gin and tonics.
Yes.
With real rhubarb in it.
Yes.
For my garden.
And there were little rhubarb pieces that she did, but it's raining out. And she's at my house tonight.
I cut them and they were beautiful. Like it's the rhubarb that's really, I think it's called Victoria rhubarb, so it's really pink. Some of them are more green. This one's really pink. And I had the exact right pieces, the exact right size. I'm like, those are our stir sticks. Where are they? They're in my fridge. And I'm not going back because I actually did my hair, not that you can really tell. And then I had to walk over all the way from my house
which
to
is
here,
like 15 steps.
in the rain. So I'm like, I don't want to go back.
Yep.
So we don't have them.
So let's talk about what we're wearing. I see you're wearing a necklace from a local designer.
A local designer.
Okay.
I don't think I was there when you made this one. This one was a surprise.
Yes, that one was. But I think that was a
Ruth,
gift.
Ruth has a real gift for making jewelry, and she's got into it maybe you were into it before, but since I've known you haven't really done it.
Recently.
But this, and I've, like this table, which is, let's say 3 by 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah.
Covered in jewelry making supplies.
Jewelry making and things.
And and if she has like a cowboy hat charm, she has 50 cowboy hat charms.
Because
you might have 50 people that want a cowboy hat charm.
You got to have the things,
so we did some before Christmas. It was really fun, and she surprised me with this one because she knows I like tarot cards.
Yes,
and they were all chosen. I think
they were chosen.
All the cards.
Absolutely. So I have the leftover ones. I'll have to find somebody who likes The leftover ones. Okay, so what else?
And then this is another top from Vibe Apparel in Nelson,
Yes.
BC. And this one is, I'll get the name of this one because it's, I think it's called a comfy sweater, or comfy as can be sweater.
Right.
I think it is.
They have good names.
That's mine.
That's
and
you.
this
So
is yours.
So this, my scarf is Obakki. It's the Obakki Foundation. When you buy these scarves, and this is, full disclosure, this is my niece's foundation, and they do a lot of really good work around the world, a lot in Africa. But they're doing more and more, and we'll link to it. But when you buy these scarves, when they sell a certain amount of scarves, a well gets built in South Sudan, right? A water well, which helps tribes stop fighting.
Yeah.
Right. It helps them, each of the villages to grow vegetables for themselves,
Sure.
and maybe to sell it or trade at a local market and stuff. So it's got a really good purpose, and they're really comfortable. And I was a bit cold, and they're really warm.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Right.
I have one that would actually match this. And I put this on, and then I didn't think about the scarf.
Right.
But
I'm trying new things now, because I also have these. I've had these forever. I don't know where they're from.
Those
But
are really
I didn't think a
cute.
necklace went with them because the earrings are,
Yeah.
And like one of the earrings goes longer, and it was kind of
Yeah,
touching
yeah.
the necklace, and it's like, well, you got to pick one, man.
Well, you know what? All of a sudden it's going to catch, and then you'll be
Exactly.
like, help me, save
It'll
me.
catch on something.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter. But
Yeah.
the other thing, and then I've got a Vibe shirt on, which is kind of new. And the good thing about this is it has
I
pockets.
love that one. I have
Yeah.
a similar
Yeah.
style, but it's the last year's version, and
Right.
it doesn't have the seam in the front. I really like that
Yeah.
detail, and it definitely does not have pockets, and that I really love.
Yeah, but I have to say, when I just put this on without anything, it kind of looked like hospital scrubs. And so I was like, oh, I need to do something.
Which are the single most comfortable
Right.
things you'll ever wear in
Yeah.
your life? Pajamas might be a little better,
Yeah.
but hospital scrubs, that's the
Right.
thing I miss most about leaving
Yeah.
the hospital.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
don't want to wear scrubs all day.
Leaving the animal hospital, not the hospital.
Yeah,
Do not
yeah.
talk about that you were in the hospital.
No.
Or in a past life you were a doctor or something.
No. I was a candy striper, though. Did you know that?
No, see the things
That's when
we
I
learn?
learned I didn't want to be a nurse. Although I kind of still wanted to be a nurse, but anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so what do we
So-
got today?
What do we got today? Let's talk about cheese, Ruth.
Let's talk about cheese. So I have some information that I'm not going to be able to find quickly, of
Ooh,
course.
I have a little.
Oh,
I have a
okay.
little thing to tell you about cheese. I was
Okay.
reading. I'm rereading a book called Babel, which I think I've told you about before. It's this really 600 pages. I don't know how big it is, but
I don't know how she does it.
it's about. I won't tell you what it's about because I couldn't possibly encapsulate it. But there's a quote in there where they're referring to a French quote that means something like, they would say it when something's bad or something's
Right.
like, oh, that's pathetic. And the translation is, as sad as a meal without cheese. And I don't speak
I love
French,
that.
so I
Right.
don't know. I can't do the
Right.
French version of it. But I was like, a meal without cheese.
That's
the French
terrible.
know it. They
The
have
French
it.
do know
Yeah.
it. They do know it. And apparently, so does Kingston, Ontario. So we're starting to get some information in from people because, our little community is growing, and we're starting to get some news releases. And this lovely young woman sent me a news release, and apparently coming this weekend, so May 24th to 25th, like today-ish, when you see this, there's a Great Canadian Cheese Festival in support of Canadian dairy. And so it's back now after 8 years. I think they probably had a tougher time of it, but this is a great time to bring it back when we're all looking to buy Canadian and do that. And so it's a national event hosting more than 100 Canadian dairy producers and artisans from coast to coast. All the cheeses are Canadian made from locally sourced Canadian milk. There'll be tutored cheese tastings with beverage pairings, children's cheese making activities, right? And I'm gonna post this up a little earlier on our social media, because I think this is a really cool thing. Professional development seminars, wine, beer, live entertainment, and it's at Fort Henry, so you could tour Fort Henry too, which
cool.
is a really cool thing. But I would say if you're anywhere near Kingston, if you can get there, go have the cheese and take pictures and send it to us.
Oh, yes, that would be great.
But
We'd
that's
love
a
to
pretty
see it.
cool thing. I mean, that would be worth next year maybe going to, right?
Yeah. Somebody's messaging us.
Oh, who's messaging
I
us?
don't know. I just have
Let's
to see.
just find out.
Oh, it's my sister. She says,
Oh.
hi. Hey, how are you doing? Connie, if you're watching this, I'm recording podcast right now. So hi.
There you go. Okay, so what do we got now?
I love that cheese thing though. So
Yeah.
you know what? One day, guys, here's what we want to do. We want to meet you all in Kingston for the cheese festival.
Yeah, we want to meet you for cheese.
Yeah.
And wine.
And
Yeah, there's
wine.
always wine.
There's always wine.
There's always something.
There's always something. Well, there'll probably be wine later. Although this is a school night
It
for
is a
us.
school night, and we have to behave.
We do have to behave, yeah, because it is.
Also,
it is
we've had
Victoria
a
Day
busy
Monday.
week.
Oh boy, have we ever!
So-
oh my goodness.
So Friday was just a busy, crazy work day for me, and we actually tried to podcast. We were set up to do it, and it was just like, yeah, I can't. We just had a crap day, and you know, sometimes what you need when you're going to happy hour and your buddy, or it's you, and you say, you know what, I can't do it tonight. I can't. You know, what was your phrase? Happy hour.
It's a
is
happy hour, damn it.
Right, but. So sometimes you need to be able to say, I can't do it tonight, so I'm going to pass, right? And you know what happens? Your buddy comes over and sits with you and has a beer, and we still made pizza, right?
We did.
We didn't do as well as the last time before this, but we did pretty good.
Making pizza?
Yeah.
We had 2 out of 3.
We had
two
two.
of them were fantastic, and the
one
third
was
one
too heavy.
sort of fell apart,
Yeah.
yes. But we've come up with a plan.
Wait,
so
that
we'll
was
fix it, I
Thursday,
think.
not Friday.
That was Thursday.
We had Thursday, because then we went to our lovely Pink Beverly. You met
Oh,
her.
yes,
I'm going to
that's why,
forget.
yeah.
I'm going to forget what episode that was, but we are going to link to it in the our friend Pink Beverly had her 75 birthday party. And that's how she says it. I'm just repeating.
Yeah.
So, and that was really fun.
It was really fun. She has a real gift for bringing people together, I would say. And she also
from all walks of life.
Oh,
right?
she really does. And she hired friends of ours who used to live. We met them because they used to live in this community. They've since moved away, but Philip is a chef. Cindy is his extremely capable sidekick, and they just do the food they make is so beautiful.
Oh, it was fabulous. The food was great. The bubbles were great. I posted a picture today. We'll post it too, of Roxanne and I hovering around the bubbles.
And it actually wasn't intentional, but it's kind of like, you know what? If they take a picture of Ruth and Roxy, good chance there'll be around bubbles
involved. That's
nearby.
right. Nope, that's exactly. And
So,
it was
that was
really
Friday.
fun, but it was busy, right?
Yeah.
And then on Saturday,
Well, and we'd had a very busy work week.
it's been really busy lately. And then on Saturday we went to a local place that we'll tell you about. But we went to one before. We have to tell you first, so we're getting behind on the things. But but the 4 of us went to try out this new place, so we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks.
And we actually tried to podcast on yesterday too.
Yes.
Or we were like, okay, you know what? So this is us. We got to do a podcast.
And we for
dear.
me, I had bags under my eyes.
Oh yeah.
And,
Well,
it was just
the energy was up. And the thing is, we love doing this.
Yes.
We love doing this. So when we are like, oh boy, we got to do a podcast, we're getting behind. That's not the right time to do it.
Nope.
That means something's off, and we need to listen to that. We need to honor that.
Well, and it kind of goes back to all of the things, right? You have to listen to yourself and honor it, because the last thing we want to do is come on here and
bring you down. It's happy hour.
We can be vocal, and we can be critical of the fascist administration in the U.S. We'd be critical of our government too. We just don't have any reason to at this moment.
I can be critical of you, and you can be critical of me.
That hardly
Well,
ever
mostly
happens.
we can be critical of our husbands, and other people.
Other people, never of each other. We're pretty good.
We are really good. But no, in all
It
seriousness,
just wasn't a thing.
Sometimes you're just not, because that's not who we are.
No.
Like that's what we're doing. We're seeking the joy.
Yeah.
We're leaning into the joy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Nobody's joyful all the time. I was just talking with another friend of mine today, and she'd had a really bad couple of weeks. And she's a very talented author, and she writes newsletters that are just so, she'll recognize herself here, but I won't say her name. She has a real gift for writing very honestly, from the heart. And she'd had a bunch of stuff happen, and I thought, like, everyone's feeling it. I think everyone's feeling it right now. It's officially spring, but you can't see the weather.
No, but you know how it's spring?
How?
My dad used to say this. Must be spring, the leaves are out. No, that's a dad joke if you've ever heard one.
Is it ever?
But so what my sister was telling me is we've just entered into the age of Aquarius. And she said a whole bunch more that it is beyond me to remember. Aquarius wasn't when the whole sort of song and all that came out. It is now. And that's a turning of huge proportion, right?
Yeah.
And so I think maybe for those who are empathetic or who have a stronger connection, I think we're feeling off a little bit, right? I mean, I think ours was multiplied by the fact that we're like maybe 2 nights a week social people, and we had kind of, had hit our limit.
We had several in a row.
Yeah, right. But we will in a minute pause it, because I don't want to get up and go to that drawer and everybody just sees my fat bum. So we'll do that. But
you're insane. But yeah, that's so cool, because I used to be, a bunch of stuff about astrology as well. Now I used to be sort of up on it, and we all know that every day things change. Every like the moon and the sun and the earth, like they change position relative to each other all the time. And well, the sun doesn't move, I guess, but but all the other planets move, and we are in a different, but some of them, the outer planets, we're in the same range as them for decades, sometimes more than decades. But when you switch out of them, it's big change. So this must be one of the outer planets that we're now, Earth is going to be in a different relation.
Yeah, well, and Roxanne will write a blog post about this. So because that would be really good.
You just volunteered me.
But the other side of that is like, and I know not everybody follows or necessarily has a lot of faith in this kind of thing, but the tides go to the moon cycles, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like there is so much power in this. If you go beyond but even the daily horoscopes that you sort of read, they have the good ones have some truth in them.
Well, they do. And, like my husband is a very strong skeptic about everything. Yeah. Everything. If you can't, prove it, can be quite annoying. But what it does, it forces me to look at, so how would I defend this?
Right.
And what I say to him is, do you believe in astrology? I'm like, do I believe in the weather?
Yeah.
I believe in the weather. Meteorologists look to the external circumstances of our environment, and they tell us what's coming, what's on the horizon. Astrology is no different. It's just related to farther out.
Movement of planets.
It's the movement of planets. So does that mean a certain thing is going to happen? No, it doesn't. It just means the likelihood is there, or the environment. The environment is set up for a certain thing to happen. It maybe won't happen, but the likelihood is greater for this or that to happen. So that's all. And it fascinates me, because I love to know those things. And half the time I don't even know what the weather's supposed to be like tomorrow. So
and when you think about, far back in history, when people used to be able to navigate oceans by the stars,
completely.
Right? And it is just, when you think about it, if you really get into it, and beyond the let's go get my fortune told at a carnival, because you're likely not getting any authenticity there, right? But the other side, if you really get into it, you start to see how it really does affect you. I mean, the fact that first responders will tell you a full moon, right, is a hard night for them. Right?
I worked, my first job going through college was in a nursing home, and you knew full moons. The people with dementia were going to be at their worst. Right. Times. I
mean, there's so much there, but we'll have to get into this a bit more, and talk about it. And
then we can talk about the tarot as well, because the tarot is connected to all of the cards relate to a certain something.
And I just recently got, I think I told you guys this, they're shells, but they're rune shells.
Oh yeah,
right, and they're mermaid rune shells, because I was a little obsessed because of that book series. And now I'm reading the same author, but it's in Ireland. And it's like that. Now I want to know.
So is it Celtic mythology she's following?
Yes, and yes, and a bunch of other sort of so we say Celtic. So why do they call them the Boston Celtics?
I have always wanted to know that, Ruth. I've always wanted to know.
That out.
I think that somebody just said it wrong, and it's been wrong forever since. That drives me batty. It really does.
Okay, then see the things we get into.
Yeah.
Look at that. Okay,
a lot of things drive me batty, but
okay. Speaking of driving you batty, I just listened to Mel Robbins' podcast about Let Them, which is a lot of people are talking about right now. Now, first of all, I love Mel Robbins. Yeah, she did the 5-second rule, and I thought it was 20 years ago, because I've used it so much. It was only 8 years ago that she did that, and that's like, if there's stuff you don't want to do, and for me, it's usually getting out of bed. But you know what happens? I lay there, and the 5-second rule is you count down from 5, and then when you hit 1, you just do it. You stop thinking about it, and you just do it. And by the time I've woken up, and I don't want to get up for like that 3 seconds, at 2, I usually remember there's coffee in the waiting. But
helps.
even the hard stuff with work, or if it's like raining and you have to walk the dogs, like it's funny how this little thing can make you move, right? It makes you do something because you've given yourself a deadline. Well, now she's doing the let them,
and that's based on her book, or she has a book out.
Yeah,
called that, right?
And honestly, I listen to the podcast and I'll buy the book because I want to support her. But if you listen to the podcast, you don't need the book. But it's really interesting because it's like when people do the things and you want to reach out, it's all about control, but you want to reach out. Somebody leaves you out of a trip, right? Like a bunch of friends go on a trip and they don't invite you. You know, her response to this is like, let them and let it go, because there's a whole bunch of things you might not know. And also, they did it.
Yeah.
Just let them, right? Yeah. Stop trying to make the things because if they're excluding you, you're going to know it. And if they don't have the respect and courage to tell you why you're not really a part of their group, then let them, right? And move away. Now, I also have a little add-on to let them. And it's like in my head, it's like, okay, I'm just going to let them, and they can go fuck themselves.
There it is. It is.
Right? You know, I can only be Buddha Ruth for so long, right?
I do love that. That is really, really hard to do. But it is
hard to do.
It's such good advice, and it's been, you know, around in some form for forever, right? Yeah. It's good.
Now, Robbins is great at putting it into a phrase you can put into your head.
Yes,
right?
and that's really important because you don't remember it otherwise, right? And sometimes it's just it'll just land a little bit differently, and then it'll affect you somehow, and you can maybe grab onto it better and say, oh, buy into it, you know?
Well, and that's just it. And I think part of it, so a very long time ago, I was reading about how to change your own mind about things, right? Like let's say there's somebody who's around you that you maybe you don't like or you don't trust.
Done.
Or but it's like what you can say is, it doesn't have to be, oh, I like that person, to yourself. I'm not saying to say this out loud.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want to like them.
Right.
Or if you've had a breakup and you can't seem to let go, I want to let go. And then you move it into, I can let go.
Yes.
And then I will let go. Right? And you move these along, and as you say them into your, and I actually had somebody tell me one time that they were having a really hard time getting over a divorce, and what they put as all their passwords, I wish her well.
Ooh.
And so every time they had to type a password in, that's what they would tell themselves.
Yeah.
And it works because you're repeating it. Your brain's a computer. It takes in stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it starts to play that record.
Well, and the grooves in your brain get deeper and deeper the more you hear it, the more
repeated,
you persever it. So that's why when you get on a bad train of thought, it can really spiral you down.
Let them is a really good one, I think, because it releases you from trying to control something that you probably don't have control over. And I mean, that doesn't mean you couldn't say, you know, if there was something bothering you, hey, could we talk about this? But it's like the things that hurt you or that frustrate you or that, you know, it's a little bit like, you know what, let them, because either they're doing something bad or without integrity or that's unethical, and they're going to get busted somewhere, right? So just let them do their thing and you do your thing. And that's a really big relief when you can, and it's not going to work all the time because sometimes you can't, it's easier said than done. Right?
I mean, none of this is, you know, professional advice. And sometimes you need to talk more with somebody who actually can help you identify what is the motivation behind all this.
Especially the really, like, the life impact things, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's really important.
Yeah. On a slightly related note, was the idea of the yet. And it was in regards to abilities and skill sets and all that, because it's really easy for us to say things like me. So if I say things like, oh, I can't do newsletters. I'm terrible at newsletters. I hate doing newsletters. It's not in my skill set, is what I would tell myself.
Yep.
And now I am trying to turn that around to say, it's not in my skill set yet.
Yes.
I'm not good at it yet.
Yep.
I will learn. I am committed to trying all sorts of new things. And you're never good at something when you start. You're always terrible at it.
We're still terrible at this.
We
keep doing it.
I mean, but you know what? We're better than we were a year ago.
But that's just
We're
it.
Way better than we were 2 years ago.
If you don't try, You never know.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always, the more you do something and get a teeny tiny little bit of success. I started doing crossword puzzles. My husband's done them forever, and he had a book, and I got tired of, just scrolling on my phone while I drink my coffee in the morning, and I realized my brain is not getting younger on its own. Gotta work at it, man. Yep. And so I really like I used to do them all the time. So, he's got New York Times crossword puzzles, and they're tough. And I have gotten better in the couple of weeks I've been doing them. I mean, you start to know what the automatic questions are. Right. There's certain ones that they repeat, but it's just made me think just a little bit differently, because there's always a little thing in there where I hear something, I think literally and very, what's the word? Like linearly, right? And yet crossword puzzles make you go this way. Yeah. And, it's hard.
It is hard, especially when you get stuck on one and you get in that loop of can't get out of it, right? Yeah. But it is really good for your brain.
So one of the answers to one of the clues this morning was, I think in texting language. So if you were texting someone and you wanted to say, I think something, what would you, the shortcut for that is often IMHO or IMO, right? Yeah. In my humble opinion, in my opinion. So 4-letter word, IMHO. And then, and Ray's looking over my shoulder, and I had a couple of the other ones that were going with it that weren't working. And he said, just for what it's worth, I'm just going to give you a hint here about this one. And for what it's worth, I'm also going to tell you, that maybe you should think differently here. And then I finally realized what he's telling me is it's not IMHO, it's FWIW, for what it's worth. Oh. Because often when you're texting, you want to tell somebody, well, you know what, in my opinion, ham is better than chicken. Right. For what it's worth, I think ham is better than chicken. Right. So, and we have these little acronyms. These little,
Oh, God.
So, anyway.
The language of texting, it's a whole other thing, right? Yeah. It's a whole other thing, man.
It is a whole other thing. Yeah. Anyway, he has a good time showing me up crossword puzzles, but sometimes he's helpful. And mostly I just cover it. Don't copy my work. Also, don't give me hints. I want to do it myself.
That's funny. Okay, what else we got? What do you got? Okay, let's talk about Lakeside Beach Club, because we went there. I think we talked about it last podcast.
That we were going to.
We were going to. It's really good. It's in Cultus Lake.
We are so lucky to have a place like this so close to us. Yeah. What did you order? Do you remember?
They have a black and blue toast, which is, I don't know if it's steak or roast beef. I think it's steak. Rare steak with blue cheese on a piece of toast, and it's got sauce and caramelized onions and all the things. And Roxanne, you had the salmon toast, right?
Yeah, the smoked salmon and prawn toast, and it's beautiful. And they use the microgreens, and they've got
it's beautiful
capers, and it's just so delicious. I love it. It's a piece of toast with a little bit of seafood on it, and it doesn't sound like much, but it's so beautiful, and I'm full at the end of it.
Oh yeah. It's really good, and the bread is lovely, and it's served in this beautiful way. And then, of course, Roxanne and I, because we're on this great poutine chase right now, we ordered poutine, except they don't have it on their menu anymore.
They used to.
They did, and it was good. They used to have a whole poutine menu, I'm telling you, if it's not just cheese curds and poutine gravy, it's not poutine. They used to have a butter chicken poutine.
Oh, no.
And that's not poutine.
That might be good. I've never had that.
It might be delicious. Paul used to get it all the time. But then we asked them, and they were like, well, we don't really have poutine. But then they said, we do have shredded cheese. So we said yes to it. So to their credit, they told us it wasn't poutine. Yeah. And we ordered it anyway. And I think next time I'll just have fries and gravy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not poutine if it's no cheese curds.
And it's fine. Like, it was good.
They have great fries and gravy.
They do actually. Yeah.
But everybody
I think they stopped with the poutine because this was early on. Like, I don't know that we knew you that well at that time, because I don't think we as a foursome ever went out for poutine like when they had it on the menu. Right. But they had a new place start up that had poutine on the menu, right? Like, well, they
that
did.
Might be
LBC did too, but
just a burger joint.
It was burgers and poutine.
It was much cheaper.
And it's like, why?
And the shame is though that other place, because it's still there and it's good. It's got good burgers and stuff, but their fries aren't homemade. Right, and the gravy's not as good, right? And again, you get what you pay for. Yeah.
Well, and they're not open all year.
No, and that's Lakeside Beach Club is, but very welcoming, very helpful. It's definitely, if you're in Cultus Lake, it's a place to go. They have great beer on tap, right? it's just one of those places. And I think in the summertime they often have live music on the weekend.
They do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I don't think I've been there for it because usually
that's Friday,
we don't stay
and we're
out too
podcasting.
late, and we're podcasting. Also, we go to bed at 7:30, so you know,
Which,
you do, and I'm not
is,
far behind.
Yep. But anyway, worth going if you're out here. And we'll put there's some pictures of our friend. I think one of our friends had fish tacos, maybe.
Yes.
And Paul had lettuce wraps.
Yes. Oh, the lettuce wraps are good. I've had those too.
Yeah. And then I forget what Wanda had, but
she
we'll
had
put
a
it
bowl.
up. Yeah, it was a bowl of something. It looked really good.
Yeah.
Everybody liked their food, so that was in it. You know, it's always nice to see good
And
friends.
they have a nice lager there too.
Yeah.
They have they have their own lakeside lager. They have a few other. So
yeah.
We're very lucky to have that.
We are very lucky. Here. Okay, what else we got here?
What else we got? I was thinking about your little let them go fuck themselves moment. And I was thinking about something I read the other day. It was about swearing, and the headline is, this was from CBC As It Happens, and I've listened to CBC for years. And I love it. And As It Happens is a fun
we
show.
love CBC. We support CBC.
Absolutely.
Keep your hands off CBC.
Please, yes. So they did an As It Happens episode on not only does swearing feel good, it's also good for you study. And I mean, I grew up where in an atmosphere where swearing was absolutely wrong. You did not swear, even the watered down, like, you know, darn instead of damn. No, you did not say darn. You could say for goodness sake or for heaven's sake. You couldn't say for God's sake. Ooh, and you know, anyway, so very, very specific, but, you know, swearing was a big deal, and it was like sinful and wrong, and showed a lack of self-control, and showed anger, which is also wrong, which is not true, because anger is neutral. It's just a thing.
Yep.
Like sadness, joy, loneliness, whatever.
Yep. Pretty basic human emotions.
But what this study found is that swearing has a number of social and personal benefits. It is a way to get rid of some of the things that happen when you hurt yourself or when you're frustrated, so that you can then deal with it better. It's kind of like an escape valve, right? Steam valve lets it off. According to recent review of available research on the topic, swearing helps people tolerate pain, ease stress, build and maintain interpersonal connections, and in some cases be more persuasive. And it does elicit a response. And you've mentioned that before about how you're trying to swear less because people
It scares my
react
friend
to certain-
Jill, right? Every time I like go off on a rant, and I did grow up not swearing. I never heard my father say like fuck ever, right? Ever. And he played hockey, right?
Wow.
Like never ever. Like but for me it's like I'm so angry, but then I think about it because Paul puts stress out extra, like he says it,
okay,
right? Whereas I pull it in, and
yeah.
I'm always worried about him when he's swearing and stuff, because I think that runs negative energies through your body. Like I think it gets your cortisol up, and there's all these things that happen, and I'm not sure that's good either. But I don't think it's better that I keep it in.
Yeah. It's funny. I wonder if there are ways. It doesn't really get into that, but I wonder if there are different ways of swearing or different circumstances in which you do it that have different
and it
physiological
may be,
effects.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
And it might be that that's his natural way of pushing it out of his body, and because I have a different way of approaching things, I just take it in. It's like I have to figure out a solution, and that's where I go, right? But swearing, it's an interesting thing because, you know, in a professional setting, I wouldn't swear.
Yeah.
But if you're in a professional setting and something goes really wrong, if you say it, everybody stops and they're all worried about you.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. So I think that's part of the power if it is used judiciously.
Yeah.
And like a strong spice,
yeah.
right? You don't want to overwhelm something, because when you use it all the time, it loses meaning. And I've often heard, swearing is for people who have limited vocabularies. No, I don't believe that at all. But I think it can reflect maybe you haven't thought something through very well, or maybe
and it's a surface thing, right?
It is a surface thing.
It's not. It isn't a follow the sort of you've thought of it deeply. But the other side is my mom used to say to us if we swore, you have better words, and and her meaning wasn't always, be the good Pollyanna girl, right? The meaning was, you can get your message across more strongly, right?
Right.
You can increase its strength by not using it. And actually, there was a Big Bang Theory, my volume, when I go to sleep I listen to it, but there was one on there where Sheldon was saying he doesn't swear, and he's like, you can hurt people without using those words. And so it's not that I want to hurt people, but that's what my mom was saying. You can make your point without distracting them with that.
Well, and I think that's a really good point. It can be distracting, especially in, like you were saying, in a professional environment. It could be distracting in that someone might think differently of you.
Yeah.
Right? Or they might not hear what you're trying to say. Yeah. My kids have told me, my daughters have told me that they get a real kick. I want to say they get a kick out of me swearing. It's not exactly what they said, but it was something along the lines of, I love it when you swear, Mom, because they know that I so held back any expression of strong emotion or any expression, especially of anything that would make me not look like a good girl, not look like a nice, compliant woman, right?
Right. If you're going to rock the boat.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they're like, I love seeing that, Mom. Like, you're not scared to speak out anymore.
Right.
And sometimes
just for the record, her swearing is not my fault.
Her
wine drinking might be my fault, but not the swearing, man.
Oh no, I learned to swear when I got my when I left home, not surprising, but got my first job, and then I was working at the university, and oh wow, in a university teaching hospital, people swear all the time.
Well, and to be fair, I think when I was at McLean's, there was late at night, there was a lot of swearing going on. But it was a small group, and you were tasked with getting the magazine out and done, and so it wasn't like, I don't know, would we have sworn if the editor-in-chief, it depends what editor-in-chief it was at that time, right? Because a couple of them rose through the ranks, right? Okay. And we had worked with them as colleagues as opposed to, the boss person, right? So I don't know, but it is interesting, certain workplaces, right?
Well, I worked in the anesthesia and surgery department, and anesthesia, what they like to say about that is, here's the job, 99%, try and keep yourself awake, 1% of absolute incredible fucking horror, because anesthesia, nothing happens until it all goes south.
Until it happens.
And people are like, get that fucking dog back to sleep, he's awake, just people would get really, really wild. And I worked with a few people who were not in very good control of their emotional capacities. So
no, that's it. But it is interesting. So speaking of swearing, there were a lot of people out there probably swearing in joy this week, because the biggest plantation left in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
And I forget what state it's in. We'll figure it out. It burned to the ground, and it was where wedding venues were. And there was this one selfie, and it was 3 younger Black women, and they were taking a selfie with it in the background, burning to the ground, and they were smiling.
I bet they were.
Imagine what that plantation said every time someone whose ancestor or whose, we're not talking that long ago.
Yeah.
Anybody whose great-great-grandparent was a slave. Like it's not like it was 500 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, and it was very interesting to sort of see the response, and of course the opposite response of people like, how can you, this is a beautiful piece of history, and it's like, but it's shit history, right? Like, I'm not saying we need to pretend that it never happened.
We shouldn't pretend it never happened.
Why would you ever want to have your freaking wedding there?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and I can tell you who does it, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Who romanticizes that? Not the people who are harmed by it.
No, right?
The people
and
who benefited from it.
Right?
And there are lots.
Yeah. Well,
lots
and
of those.
they're in the South.
Yeah.
Tends to lean Republican or now MAGA.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it was like, sorry, but we have enough in history books that are trying to be erased, but that we know about it. You don't need to tour a plantation and feel the pain and the sorrow and the grief and the freaking anger and frustration,
and the terror,
right, of somebody.
But
especially when it's being used for celebrations.
Oh, that's
like,
the thing.
We're talking about when you go to Auschwitz.
Yes,
you are very touched by the horror of it all, and yet meanwhile they're having stinking parties in there.
We were having a conversation about the 9/11 museum, right? And it's the same thing. You walk into that place and you feel the hush, right? You feel the weight of that experience of that time, and many people who lost their lives, who disappeared in that time, right? So it's why are plantations treated
why are they treated as
that never was good.
No, that's just it. So I just have one more little thing to go into in that, and then we're going to get to some more funner stuff.
I want the funnest.
So the
funnest of all.
So I had a friend on Facebook share, and it was subtle ways we center our language on whiteness, and that was really interesting because I know words are important to me. Words are very important. And it's like, we don't say master bedroom anymore. We say maid bedroom, right? Kind of thing. Things like, so what, one of the things they said, so here's just one, and we'll bring these up as over the next few podcasts. But so Black and brown people who leave their country and say, come to ours or go to the US are called immigrants. But when white people go to another country,
when they move there,
they're called expats, right? And they find their community. So what we say here is, why aren't you assimilating? And what we say there is, oh, look, all the
you
US
found your
expats.
people.
Yep, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a really interesting thing
that
when you
really
think about
interesting.
it, right? And we're going to talk more about this as we're going along, because I want to really dig into this a bit. Because somebody, when my friend Jane shared it, somebody on her thing was, her response was like, what is this? I'm so sick of all this. It's just words. Right. And it's like, but, and so I went and checked, and this was a white woman. Yeah. Right. And it's like, you know what? You don't get to say that. Yeah. You were not harmed by this. Yeah. Right. Just like, I'm an old white woman. I don't get to say it either.
No.
But I can empathize and support and work to understand why this is so painful for people. Right. Yeah. And I'm going to do it wrong sometimes. We're going to do it wrong.
Yeah.
But we're trying. And that's all you need to do for crying out loud.
Well, and for us, it might be something like, hey, toots.
Yep.
Right? Like that seems innocuous. Maybe if your dog is called Toots, maybe it wouldn't be offensive to you. But you know what? Somebody says that to me, and it triggers a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Words do have huge power, right? So I have to say again, I was going to talk about some other books today, but I'm going to talk about Babel.
Yep.
And I'll put a link to the, I believe the author's name is Kuang, Kuang, but I'll link that properly in there. But that is what that book is entirely about. It is about the dangers of colonialism, the effect of colonialism, the effect of translation.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
So one of the quotes in there is, every act of translation is a betrayal. Yeah. Because you can never hope to get it right, and it's a complicated story, one of the most complicated stories I've ever read, and I'm reading it for I think the third time now, and finally maybe getting it. But what it has to say about how language can be used to dominate others, and how subtle changes in language can be used to completely change a meaning and bastardize something and turn it to your own benefit, told through 4 students at Oxford College.
Wow. That's so interesting, because when you think about it too,
it's a crazy story.
So think about when you were a kid and you played that telephone game or whatever it was, right? Mm-hmm. I have something, I say it to you, and by the time it gets down there, it's different. So some of it is with ill intent, but others is just human nature of we put it through our lens, right?
Well, and when you don't have, so one of the things that keeps coming up, when I was younger, and even like maybe not so younger, I thought, what's the big deal about translation? You take a word, what's the word in your language? It's one-on-one. But what about languages that don't have a word for something? What if there is no expression for that thought? What if, we know in some of the First Nation languages, they have words for things related to the environment where they live, right? The Inuit cultures, I think, have 40 words for snow or something, because that's what they're surrounded by.
The nuance of it all, right?
Nuance, exactly, and the nuance, we can't capture that.
No, and you can't understand it, and there are some phrases that don't have a translation, and we'll find we'll find something like that. But think about all of the things, the Bible.
Oh my God, that's what I think every time.
But that's just it. Yeah. It's like, of all the things, so this was a story that happened, all that time ago, that got translated from a whole bunch of different languages, right? And then it's like, and through a whole bunch of different people who have different views on, or different understandings of what something might mean.
Different priorities.
Yes, well, yeah, and all of it, and it's like, and even if it was directly from the person who was there, and I'd like something specific from that, but eyewitness testimony is not reliable,
goodness,
because
no.
we all have our own lens.
Well, and did you know that there are many, many, many books and writings and scrolls that possibly made it into the Bible or possibly didn't, or were considered for the Bible
And didn't get
and then
in.
taken out the Apocrypha? You've heard of that probably. Like, some people believe the Apocrypha should be part of the Bible. Others, no, didn't make it in. The Book of James, one of my favorites, almost didn't make it in. Somebody decided that.
Yeah.
Some man decided what was going to go in. Many, many, many men decided what was going to go in and how. There are many women who were removed from the Bible. There's like, I don't know, a handful of women's names, but there are also a handful more that we never hear about because no one ever talks about them, but they're still in there.
Yeah.
But no, you talk about Rebecca and Leah and Mary and Elizabeth. Those are the ones you hear about.
Seriously, I don't like that. You have a knowledge of the Bible.
But there is a lot more in there that we never hear about.
Right.
And then even more that never made it in.
Well, that's
why
just
were they
it,
taken
right?
out? You know.
Yeah. Well, so it is only one version of real or perceived events, right? So it is, but it is really interesting because honestly, I've also written something for a magazine, and the editor, doing what they believe was a good job, took away the nuance and the context of it. So you have to go back and say, you can't say that. Actually, I've had it happen in corporate work too. You have to fight for it. But today we can fight for it.
Yes.
Back then, women couldn't.
Oh,
right.
No.
So it is a very interesting.
It's
thing.
a real, and you know, the responsibility of editing, and since I started doing that, it has really come alive for me.
Yeah.
What a responsibility that is to have someone else's work come. And I mean, I see your words, and because I know you so well, I often know what you're trying to say.
Yes.
And I think, I wonder if it can we oomph it a little bit here. Because I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But then the fear is, am I changing your words?
Right.
Am I adding my little layer on there because I want to be a dog peeing on that fence post? You know, like
First of all, that's not how you edit.
But that's the danger.
But that's all. But it's also the magic of it.
Yes.
Right. Is because an editor helps you make your thought clear. Right. It gives it. It brings it the sparkle.
That's the goal. That's the goal. But that, I mean, I had a couple of authors, especially early on, really, really push back because I still believe in most of the cases I was giving them advice that they needed to hear, but they were so attached to their ideas, you know, and absolutely there's a risk that I am missing something important here.
Okay, that's fair, and it's fair to have the conversation. But coming from having you edit, I mean, Roxanne edits my love notes, right? She edits things that I write for clients and stuff, but coming from that is also, you can't be too precious about your work, right? You have to take the input, and so there's that balance, and you are incredibly good at saying, have I changed the meaning? Does this make sense, right? Like, and that's what we all should be, but it's also okay to say, this kind of doesn't make sense.
Right.
Would this work, or could you do this with it? That's the job of an editor to me.
I think so too.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so I've got a good one. When you're in, and this is from Adam Grant, who I follow on Facebook, who's really good. We'll put a link in. When you're in a heated argument, stop and ask what evidence would change your mind. If the answer is nothing, there's no point in continuing the debate. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it think. So if somebody said, show me the data, or show me the science, or show me the precedent, then they're like still open. But if somebody's like, if I said to a Trump supporter, right, what would make you change your mind about him? And if they say nothing, there's no point.
No.
Right? And or anything, you know.
And that is such a good point. And we all do it. We all get really attached to the things that have real emotional resonance for us, or things that we believe, and maybe we don't know why we believe it. It's really, really hard to let go of those things.
But interestingly enough, for the few of the girlfriends, and I've been very lucky that most of my friends haven't had abusive relationships, but when they say, but you don't know him like I do.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's like, so my response always used to be, so tell me what I'm not seeing.
Yes. Oh, that's a brilliant one. That's a brilliant one.
Right? But they couldn't, because it was like, well, he's really kind and generous. It's like, I saw him smack you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
Is he generous because he's making up for it? Right? So when you have these but for any conversation, I mean, I can tell you, there is no evidence that will change my mind that I'm going to like salmon, because I've tried it all. Just saying.
An excellent segue into our next little piece. Have we missed anything today? What are we talking?
Oh, our Jimmy Kimmel Live. Let's do an update.
Yeah, let's do an update.
So we haven't heard anything.
Here's the update.
Jimmy.
No update.
Yes, but what we did, so we sent him a big Canadian care package. Actually, 2 boxes full of...
2 boxes?
2 boxes. It took 2 boxes, man.
Good Lord.
Yep,
I missed
so
that part.
we sent him, chocolate bars you can't get there, coffee crisp and Maltesers and
oh good
and
Hawkins cheesies of course.
Hawkins cheesies of course.
Probably not smoked salmon.
No smoked salmon
because that's bad over the border.
And we sent a bag like that Roxanne got from the woman where it says 10 provinces, 3 territories. It goes on and on about how great Canada is, and then it's like never 51. Or,
not the 51st state. Yeah,
but
exactly.
But stuff like that. So all sorts of goodies in there, including. I mean, we put in some happy hour with Ruth and Roxy
mugs,
travel
wine
tumblers.
Glasses,
and so we're waiting to hear back about what they thought about it. Now it might take a while to get there. Well, it's been 2 weeks today that we mailed it, though.
Oh,
so I'm thinking it should land soon. Right?
But the last we heard, because you did get back to the producer and say, hey, what's happening? And the last we heard was, we love it. We plan to air it.
We plan to air it. We just don't know when or if something's changed.
Yeah.
So, we'll keep, we're going to pester them until they tell us to get lost.
Yep. Well, you will.
Yeah.
I'll be in the back saying, please.
Yeah, I'm a gentle nudger. And also,
please, could you air our segment?
Hawkins cheesies.
I know. Hawkins cheesies are the best. Yeah.
But yes. So what else we got?
Let's talk about what we're eating tonight.
Oh, okay.
Because you have it right here. And we just talked about salmon.
We did talk about salmon. So we both get prepaid meal kits. What are they called? Prepared.
Yeah.
I swear to God, look at that's all I drink.
They're
I haven't
not
drank
strong.
that much.
They're not strong.
Yeah. Prepared meal kits from Fresh Prep, and we'll put a link into it. This is a great Canadian-owned company, and I think it may be a people of color-owned company.
I think it is too,
right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
I love it. I mean, you got me onto it as that seems to be the way things go
just
here.
Wine.
But
I take the blame for wine.
I get two packs each week, and that means
2 meals.
2 meals, yeah. So
2 meals for 2
meals for 2 people. And it's about, I think, $52 a week is what that comes down to. So that's not bad.
And you get everything with it.
And it's in the exact amounts you need for that recipe. Yep. So, because I did go through the fridge recently after my little food poisoning episode to get rid of some stuff. And even though we've heard from very talented chefs that, you know what, most of your condiments and spices are going to end up being out of date. That doesn't mean they're bad.
Yes.
Just means you can't sue the company anymore for them. But my husband is quite adamant that if it is past its best before date, it needs to go out. And I did throw out a bunch of stuff. But I don't need a whole jar of fish sauce.
Right.
I'm going to use it like teeny tiny amounts. So they give you exactly the amount of fish sauce that you need. Exactly the amount of garlic. I always have garlic. But and it's all cut. Some of the things are cut up. Some of them you have to do yourself.
Yep. But this one, so tonight we're having coconut lemongrass poached salmon. I'm having chicken. I just made a side piece of chicken with snow peas, bok choy, and lime rice. I know I said side piece. Ray's going to laugh at that. But it's good, and it's really good, and it doesn't take much to create. But this is a good little shout out to Fresh Prep. If you're I think they do BC and Alberta now. I don't think they do farther.
Too, yeah.
But if you're in either of those 2 provinces, you should try it, and you should come to us because we can get your little.
Oh, we can get you a little discount. Yeah. It's great, and I have had that particular one twice. We've done that one, and it's so good. It's so good. That poached. It's a coconut milk broth. Ooh, it's just delicious.
No, with lemongrass and
we eat better. We eat better from doing Fresh Prep because more vegetables. Because also I tend to let vegetables rot in my fridge, which is
how it goes with many of us.
Yeah. It's the graveyard for vegetables, really.
Yeah, that's a big confession.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we're going to
kind
talk
of.
about joy now.
Well, yes, joy/gratitude. I know what I'm grateful for because every spring it's kind of the same thing, and we already talked about it. I'm grateful for rhubarb. I love it. Rhubarb is a real prairie thing. It's not just prairie, obviously,
Right.
but it's a thing that it's really hard to kill, that
Yeah.
plant, and it has a lot of nutritional benefits. The leaves are toxic. You don't want to eat those. But
stuff
I
she
love
knows.
that tangy, tart,
Right.
almost bitter.
We used to eat it as kids with
Oh,
just sugar
yeah,
on it.
dipping it in sugar. Yeah. I've always loved it. And it's very evocative for me. My
Yeah.
mom would make rhubarb crisp, with
Yeah.
a crumble topping.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for rhubarb today.
Oh, that's a good one.
It brings me joy.
That's good.
How about you?
So I'm grateful for the fun time we had at Pink Beverly's.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
75 birthday party. It was really fun.
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was. And we didn't even sit together for the whole thing.
No,
We did for the last half.
we did for the last half.
But
When Roxanne hoofed it over and just brought us a bottle of bubbles fast.
oh, we're out of bubbles. I'll go get some.
Yep. Yeah, there was no table service. Well, there actually was.
There
JD
actually
kept
was.
coming and
He was-
taking
yeah,
good
yeah.
care of
He
us,
was-
but
he was good.
wasn't moving fast enough for Roxy. But it was really fun, and that's the magic of this little community too.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
right? Is like there are people that have your own little social groups, but then there's a bunch of social groups that all cross over
kind of
and do the
overlap.
things, and when you see these people, you're so excited to hear what's been going on
Yeah.
and to chat, and they're really nice and they're engaged and stuff.
You know what I loved about this? Like, this is so refreshing to me because, I'm sort of used to, these are your circles. Here's one circle. Here's another circle. Here's another circle. And there's no overlap because these are your friendship circles. And I have kind of been dragged into the idea of a bit more semi-permeable membranes
Yep.
between all those groups. And so we have now had a chance to get to know Beverly's sister Barbara.
Yeah, who's lovely.
She's lovely. She often is out. We've seen her many
Yep.
times. We've
Yep.
seen Beverly's friend Rick many
Yep.
times. We met her daughter Kara. Kara.
Yep. No, Kara, who's lovely
which
too.
we haven't met her
we
before.
haven't met. Nope. we
Her
haven't
friend
met.
Shelley.
I think she was there last year, but we didn't talk to her.
Okay, I don't remember
Kara,
seeing her before,
yeah.
but I that doesn't mean.
But I think we're
it
in
wasn't
and
good.
out last year early.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think Shelley, we've gotten
Shelley,
to know quite well.
yes,
She's
yes.
a really
and her
great
husband
human. Yep.
Blair, I think,
Yep,
right?
Blair.
Blair was there as well.
She has the
and-
memory for names.
Oh yeah, okay.
No, but even all the people here, there's Debbie and Roy, and there's
yeah.
Allie, and there's all these, and Nancy and Steve. Like there's all these great people that you get together with them for us it's probably every couple of months we get invited to something, and mostly Pink Beverly comes over here, and only because with dogs and everything, unless we were having some bigger party, and
Yeah.
we haven't had bigger parties only happen in the summer here, right? They have happy hour every Friday at 3.
Every Friday?
No.
Do they really?
No, and since they moved in here, and they're the early ones.
originals.
Yeah, the originals. But anyway, I was at that. It was a really fun night.
And you know what's really lovely is we were both really tired.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get enthused about social. My default, social things happening, I can't go. And then I come up with a reason why I can't go.
Look, did you see her eyes when she did that? She's got that. I can't go.
I can't do that. No. I have to
Wash my hair.
Yeah, file my nails, have a bath, whatever. But we used to say this with our kids when they were small. You know what? We should take our kids to the pool. Yes, getting 3 kids packed up to go swimming is a major pain, especially when it's pouring rain or snowy or whatever. But you know what? Having 3 kids stuck in the house when it's pouring rain or snowy, no fun either.
No, that's true.
Every
and just
time
for the
we
record,
come
I'm
back-
assuming it was an indoor pool. I don't think they took their kids to the pool.
Indoor, yeah, the rec center. But every time we'd come back and we're like, oh, we're so glad we did that. It was so much
Yeah.
fun. It was so good. And it's the same thing here. Like, yes, there's a certain effort in socializing, but it's always worth it.
It is.
It's always worth it after.
No, it
You've
is. And
strengthened
that was
something.
Yeah, and it was really fun, and you hear new, interesting things, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Maybe
Yeah.
don't remember much of it, but,
That's because she got the other bottle away.
I did. I got the
bubbles.
Other. Yeah. But
Okay.
I remembered some names.
You
Ha-ha.
did. That's really good because I wouldn't have. Nope, that's good. Okay, so
Oh.
what do we want more of, Roxanne?
We want more happy hours because they're good for us.
They are.
And what do we want less of, Ruth?
Less bullshit.
Because it's
so much
challenging
less
for
bullshit.
us.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we want less.
Yeah.
And we you know what? We also want to hear more from you guys
Yes,
because it is such a joy, such a treat to have feedback and to have,
and to hear from you and tell us the things you're thinking about what we're saying.
Exactly.
And also please subscribe on YouTube, because we'll get to stream on YouTube, but we need more people to subscribe. And also, the more we can grow it.
Yeah, we want to get on some of the actual podcasting platforms, and you need a certain minimum number for that.
Yeah.
And we're happy to keep going as we are, because we want to retain control of what we're doing, so we can give you guys a voice as well. But
use your voice. Come and tell us this stuff. Yeah. And if you email us directly, it can be in confidence. We don't need to use your name if you're going to tell us something that's personal, or use your voice and tell us, or tell us if you want to come be a guest, tell us why, and tell us what you like about it, why you want to be a guest. Tell us, But absolutely, please engage, and please share it with people that might like it, especially the ones that are out there that might be feeling isolated right now, because it's a hard world right now.
And that is how this whole thing got started. We're getting together. We want to invite you to be part of this. Yep. We want you here as well.
Yep.
So
thank you
for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good week.